you have undoubtedly been in situations where there was too much tension between two people, whether it was yourself and a family member, a coworker, a customer, uh, even a stranger, or perhaps you've observed it in other people as well, situations where there was a lot of tension in the air. Hi, I'm Rex Houze. Today we're going to talk about how to reduce relationship tension. At any time there's a lot of a lot of tension in a relationship, not much gets done. And when we can reduce the tension in a relationship, we're going to get a lot more done, whatever getting things done means. Number one thing that you want to do is you want to stay calm. That, sometimes people are putting up a tough front just to be defensive. Sometimes there's a misunderstanding, what have you. But if you escalate the situation, it's just going to get worse. So by you staying calm, it helps calm the other person. The second thing that you want to do is you don't want to overreact to provocative statements. Sometimes when someone's upset, they'll say things that they don't really mean, or they'll say it out of anger, or say it. They're just not thinking. And so what we want to do is we don't want to take them personally. We want to slow the other person down. And one of the best ways you can slow people down is to pause. Anytime that there's something called the stimulus gap response. Anytime there's a stimulus, someone is angry, someone is yelling at us, someone is upset, there's a lot of tension in the air, and whatever that stimulus is, then there's a gap. 1 second, 2 second, a 3 second gap, a lot of times can defuse the situation, and then you respond after the gap. They teach speakers that if you're trying to get the attention of the audience, to pause, and that people wonder what's going on. In radio and television, people don't like dead air. So pause, don't be too quick to answer. Next is reply with a question rather than an answer. Sometimes if someone says X and then we say Y, and you get into what we refer to here in Texas as the "tis so, tain't so," and that doesn't get you anywhere. So if you ask a question, what do you mean by that? What would you like to see happen? Any type of a neutralizing question, it'll soften the reply. And all that was under don't overreact to provocative statements. Next, that was number two. Next, number three is listen with the intent to understand, not with the intent to reply or to one up the other person, to show them how smart you are, or tell them how right you are and how wrong they are. Number four, never say no. What you want to do with your team, if you're watching this video in a team meeting, is brainstorm different ways that you can say no. Never say it's our policy, it's the rule, or no. What you want to do is say, here's what we can do, or the best way to get that done is, or the easiest way to get that done is, or the fastest way to get that done is. Make no a non-issue. Number five, and this is where you want to give them a sincere compliment. You want them to take a bow, if you will. They've got a chip on their shoulder. When they take a bow, the chip will fall off. So use sincere compliments to ease the situation. Next, choose your battles carefully. You don't want to be in a position to where you win the battle and lose the war. What you want to do is you want to improve the relationship, and many times by winning a battle, you actually destroy or damage or increase the tension and reduce the effectiveness of your relationship. Number seven is you don't want to rush people. Let them express what they're doing. Listen for a period or an exclamation point or a question mark. Make sure that they have finished their train of thought, and then do a 1 or a 2 count, maybe even a 3 count, before you respond, back to the stimulus gap response concept. So number 7 was don't rush them. Number 8, don't make excuses. My motto is action, not promises, results, not excuses. And when you blame a technician, or you blame the salesperson, or you blame the boss, or you blame somebody else, that just looks bad on you, the company, and everyone involved. So don't make excuses, make promises, make commitments, make things happen. And then number 9, the last thing is to don't argue, even if you're right, maybe especially if you're right. Instead of arguing with somebody, say, well, that's one way to look at it. Have you considered this? Give them an alternative, or how did you arrive at that conclusion? I'd like to learn from you, and you avoid the tis so, tain't so. So when there's a relationship in the air, it usually causes a problem. Here are some tips for solving problems or resolving problems. When something goes wrong, deal with it quickly, professionally, and humbly. There's an old saying, shovel piles while they're small. Don't turn molehills into mountains. Yeah, there's no such thing as all of a sudden. That all of a sudden starts right about here. And if you let it go, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it becomes a real problem. So that's number one. Number two is, if you make a mistake, admit it. If you're wrong, say so. Take responsibility. Do whatever's within your power to make it right. Bear Bryant, the famous football coach from Alabama, said, Texas A&M, I guess, in Alabama, said, when you make a mistake, admit it, learn from it, and don't repeat it. There's an old joke that experience is the ability to recognize a mistake when you make it and not admit it when you make it again. That's a joke. Number three, get angry with the prospect, with the other person, with the customer, not at the customer, not at the other person. You might want to say things like, I hate it when that happened, or that should have never happened, or that would make me mad too, something like that. So get on the same side of them and solve the problem together. And then number four, learn to listen between the lines. Be a good listener. And you're going to be more popular, and you're going to learn something. So listen for what's not being said as well as what's being said. Be a student of body language. Watch for facial expressions changing, or body gestures to change, or people going into a closed posture. And then number five, find the why before addressing the how. What you want to do, people respond to the four things, the 4 P's of motivation, that people respond to gaining a benefit through pride, pleasure, or profit, or they'll avoid pain, the pain that comes from having the problem. And then number 6, say, what will it take to make it right? Let's see here. That's the main thing. That what we want to talk about. What we wanted to talk about today was how to reduce tension in a relationship and how to resolve problems. I hope you found this helpful, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you very much.